On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Huge breaking news all over the place. I mean, major breaking news. Obama, trials probably coming against him. Literally charges against Obama coming. Hey, you think that would be the thumbnail. Fulton County raided by the FBI. Huge. Whole bunch of stuff to talk about. And again, government's probably going to shut down too. And that's kind of ridiculous. Let's talk about it all. Got a lot to get into, and I got a lot of video to share. Trump has been a busy guy lately. We're going to start with this video. It's pretty cool, and it gets the mood started, if you will.
Do you remember what it was like when the 2020 election was rigged and stolen? Do you remember all the bullshit stories people told you about how the fraudulent election would be overturned? Do you remember the symbols of tyranny when fences went up around D.C. for Joe Biden's inauguration? Do you remember watching fuel and food prices skyrocket in a matter of months? Do you remember watching our borders being invaded by a virtual army of unidentified criminals? Do you remember watching our nation get systematically destroyed for 4 years by the Joe Biden auto pen administration? Do you remember longing for the days of winning when we had Donald Trump in the White House? Do you remember thinking he was going to die when the bullet aimed at his brain only grazed his ear? Do you remember rejoicing after witnessing the miracle that saved his life? Do you remember celebrating the epic landslide victory in November of 2024? This is what you hoped for. This is what you prayed for. This is what you voted for. So why are you questioning every decision he makes now that he's back in office? God didn't save his life so he could make mistakes. He knows what he's doing. Maybe it's time to shut the fuck up and let him cook. This has been a public service announcement paid for by the Dilly Meme team.
Good job, Dilly Meme team. Yeah, just let Trump do his thing. Wild video goes viral after a wheel falls off a passenger plane just after leaving Las Vegas. It's a British Airways plane. And what I think is really funny is nowhere, anywhere in the story until you get way down here can you tell what the name of the airline was. If it was Boeing, Boeing plane loses wheel, it would have said. It was not a Boeing plane. It was an Airbus plane. Now, again, I'm curious what's going on, but it was an A350-1000 model. They got a lot of wheels. It probably was fine when they landed, but yeah, they lost one of those wheels. You can actually see it in the video. It's not worth watching the video. I mean, it falls off. You can see it. This is powerful. This is one of the things I want to point out that's really important. Again, I don't trust polls in general, but these polls are mostly left-leaning pollsters, like ABC, New York Times, and even in those polls, holy crap is all I can say.
Yeah, sometimes I like blunt questions because they sort of get at the underlying feelings that people have. So this is about as blunt a question as you can get. Deport all immigrants here illegally. I will note the ABC News poll asked about undocumented immigrants. So we have slightly different questions, but these were all taken within the last month. And there's real uniformity here. That's what I really think you see. You see real uniformity. Deport all immigrants who are here illegally. 55% of the New York Times. Marquette, 64%. CBS News, 57%. ABC News with a slightly different question, 56%. So what you're seeing essentially here is a very clear indication that a majority of Americans, in fact, when they're asked this blunt question, which I believe gets at the underlying feelings, do in fact want to deport all immigrants who are here illegally. There's no arguing with these different numbers because they're all essentially the same across 4 different pollsters. Feelings towards immigration in this country, feelings towards undocumented immigrants and deporting all of them have become considerably more hawkish, and I think that gives Donald Trump much more leverage to go with the American people and sort of have these hawkish, some might say harsh, different rhetoric and also issue-based sort of going after immigrants who are here illegally, want immigration levels decreased. This includes legal and illegal immigration. Look at this. Last year, 55%. That is the highest level since the 9/11 aftermath. You go back just to 2020.
And this, again, legal and illegal. So people want less people coming into the country.
Exactly. They want less people coming into the country. Look at that. That's a 14-point rise from 2023. You go back to 2016 when Donald Trump again was running for president the first time. It was 38%. That's a 17-point rise. So the bottom line is more folks want people who are here illegally deported, and their overall feelings towards immigration have become considerably more hawkish.
63% say they're okay with deporting immigrants who are here illegally and arrived in the last 4 years. 87% are good with deporting immigrants who are here illegally and have criminal records.
87% that have criminal records. The people rioting in the streets is nothing. Most of them probably aren't even technically legal anyways. Well, I don't know. Whatever the case is, it's usually actually a lot of white people. Either old white people or the ones actually doing the crime is, usually college-age people. Shutdown's approaching as Schumer and the White House are attempting an 11th hour deal. Now, a lot of this is being made around this DHS funding. There's an additional $10 billion in funding they're trying to get. I mean, Trump could do that in other ways if he had to, I assume. But on top of that, DHS has been funded in its general stuff, but this extra money is probably going to go more towards the, removal of illegal immigrants that 87% of our country, at least those polled in that CNN poll, approve. And it's a CNN poll. So Schumer's going to fight this fight. They have to shut down the government, especially with everything going on right now. They're not going to be able to shut down enough of it, too. They're not going to be able to look pretty on this one. There is no place they can stand right now where a bright, shining light isn't on them. And they don't want anyone to see them. They want everybody to look at all the other stuff. These guys are fudged. John Thune is saying, how long is 56? I don't know what the hell, we'll play it. He's saying the SAVE Act is being modified. This is going to maybe complicate the government shutdown as well. But this is cool because this is about the voting. I think, and I was surprised. I was expecting John Thune to say something kind of crazy. This is like, okay. You could possibly be one of the senators we could maybe possibly keep. Maybe. I'm not saying for sure. Just bring it down. Don't get mad at me yet.
Repeatedly urged the passing the SAVE Act as well as many ag Republicans. What is the holdup in the Senate? Why hasn't that been brought to the floor for a vote? And what's your stance on the plan to improve citizenship vote elections?
Well, I'm for that. I've co-sponsored the SAVE Act in the past. I think my understanding is that they are still modifying the bill. It includes right now a requirement that you be a citizen to register to vote, but it doesn't include a requirement that to vote you be a resident. So in other words, if you're going to have what we call voter ID or photo ID when somebody goes into the ballot box to vote, that's not currently covered in the bill. So that's being fixed and addressed, and I think the new bill that comes out hopefully will deal with that. But I mean, at some point we'll have that vote. I'm for it. I think most of our colleagues in the Senate are, and I don't, it hasn't had consideration in the relevant committee yet. But I know there's a high level of interest among our members in getting a vote on SAVE Act.
And I'm just going to say, and I'm not trying to be a dick, but it's just kind of why these things frustrate me a little bit. But like Anna Paulina Luna, right? I've been a little hard on her lately because she just pops out in places she shouldn't. I think she's ultimately a good person. I'm pretty sure. But it's like, you guys passed the SAVE Act, Anna Paulina Luna, and you're willing to shut down the House because the Senate's not moving fast enough, which to me, you don't have any place to stay or stand. But why did you not make noise? Why didn't you shut down the House when you guys passed the SAVE Act without even requiring photo ID? What was up with that? Why is it the Senate that's fixing that? The bill that you guys sent up to them should have been complete. Shouldn't have needed adjustment. So again, we got people that are criticizing everybody. And again, that's what I'm doing. But yeah, if I was the guy in this trying to make this happen, trying to get herding this many cats together, 550 or whatever the hell it is, cats, are you shizzling me? No. And I don't know why I'm resisting cussing. It's gonna happen. I can promise that. But Marco Rubio says, well, this is one of the reasons why people on the left hate him, but what's funny is he's got respect in the Senate. Like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed watching him in the Senate, even being questioned by the left. It wasn't nearly as ridiculous. They had a weird amount of respect for this dude. It was super cool. And I know it's because he was a senator, and there's something very taboo about being a dickhole to one of your fellow people, right? Though Fetterman seems to have maybe gotten himself in a little hot water, but we'll see. We'll see. But here's Rubio and why I love him.
This is one of the many reasons that the left freaks out every time Marco Rubio speaks.
One of the things I see a lot in South Florida are people that have been in this country that maybe came from Cuba 45 years ago. They've worked here their entire lives. They retire. They get $800, $1,000 a month from Social Security. And then they run into somebody who just got here from Cuba 3 months ago, 29 years old, doesn't work, and is given $1,500 a month in benefits by our government because they're refugees. A year later, is traveling back to Cuba 15 times. So you're a refugee fleeing oppression from a place that you now go back and visit 15 times the following year. And in the meantime, we're giving you Medicaid, food stamps, health care for your children, cash payments from the refugee fund. So imagine if you've been working here for 40 years and your Social Security check is smaller than the benefits going to a 28-year-old able-bodied person who just got here. That's real. That happens. That's happening every day. That makes no sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense. In fact, it sucks. I just figured out why I frequently don't keep my camera on. It is tricky to hit that little button properly. Missed it multiple times today. Got some cool stuff coming back in the industry. Aluminum is going to be coming back. Emirates Global Aluminum, EGA, they're going to construct their first new primary aluminum production plant in the United States since 1980. Oklahoma. Okay, cool. Inola? Is that how you guys say that? Inola? I don't know how you'd say it with y'all's accent. Inola. Feels like what it would be, but it's probably a Native American word, I would assume. Anyways, doesn't matter. That place, if you guys live anywhere around there in Oklahoma, I'm sure somebody's going to send me an email saying, do you know law, Dan? Okay, cool, thank you. I got it wrong when I recorded, so it's not going to matter, but thank you. Also, John Deere is going to invest $70 million to build an excavator facility, or factory, I should say, in North Carolina. Again, a place that's sort of being taken over blue, but this is a good thing. I think some factories shut down. I do believe there was actually a John Deere facility that shut down there not long ago, I thought. So it sounds like Trump is bringing manufacturing back. Now, the Fed held rates. That's kind of expected by me. Everyone kind of thought they'd raise them, but I think the drama that's happening between Trump and the Fed, and the fact there's a lawsuit against Powell right now, which is excellent. All of this is by design. Now, the media is playing it up like, oh, Trump's not getting along with them, so look what happens. They're going to raise the rate. Yeah, let them. Go ahead, Fed. Go ahead. You do something because I, as president, am pissed off at you. Go ahead. I triple dog dare you. And here's why. Because your job is to do one thing. Well, two things now, but it was one thing. And that was to keep inflation under control. And then it became inflation and we've got to make sure that the workforce is sufficient. Well, unemployment is super duper low right now, and inflation also super low. Yet they still did not raise rates. So if the Fed fails to do its job, just by the very nature of that and contracts and everything else that have been signed, we can probably kick their asses out. This is all part of the plan. Inflation spiking the way it is. Part of the plan. See, the Fed's saying inflation's super low based off their stupid metrics. But the reality is the buying power of the dollar is going way down. So this is, I think, part of the big picture of removing the Fed. The dollar has to fail. The dollar has to inflate the way it is. And we're seeing gold and silver prices. Like gold, like they're dropping today. I don't know. Let's see what they are. I got them pulled up here in a sec. I'm going to point this out, though. Donald Trump, truth this, Fed has not complied with subpoenas as Powell probe continues. They held the rates. Trump is subpoenaing them, and they're not providing the documents. Trump's going to prove they're doing something shady. Someone got kickbacks. $2 billion is ridiculous, and to put that on the taxpayers is irresponsible. This will be one more feather in the cap of removing the Fed. You guys are literally fleecing the people you claim to be here helping. Powell's screwed. I don't know if it's criminal. I don't think it needs to be. But inappropriate, certainly untrustworthy, breaking of contracts, not really looking out for the big picture, then yeah, for sure. So silver's down. Oh, wow, silver's barely down. Holy crap. It was down like $4 earlier today. Yeah, it dropped hard. They did this little standard thing. Yeah, but then, what's going on? It's coming back. Gold did the same thing. I bet you the graph looks identical. Yep, except it's already positive. It was down $180 earlier when I was looking at it. Stock markets are down a little bit. And maybe they've rebounded a little. Yeah, they've rebounded a little, it looks like. So again, everything started super low. Gold actually went way down. The graph, I think, shifts depending based off the time frames, but whatever the case is. Oil being at $65 is crazy. Crypto is way down too. Is it still way down? Shit, it's still way down. Yeah, Bitcoin's down $4,600. So it's at 84. This is one of the lowest prices I can think of in a long time. It'll be fun to look at what that overall. I don't know. Let's get crazy. I don't know. I don't really ever get into crypto, but let's just look. Let's look at 1 year. It's about the lowest. I don't know. What was this? Okay, got down to 76, 70 something. Okay. Still close. Yeah, again, I'm not a big fan of crypto, but it's cool. I mean, I got some Ripple, right? I got some XRP. You know, I don't have any Bitcoin. I had zero Bitcoin. I had zero anything else. Actually, I just have some XRP and Ripple. That's it. That's all I got as far as that crap goes. Folks, look, the inflation of the dollar is happening. The destruction of the Federal Reserve note, and that's what I'm calling the dollar. The dollars, it really should be, I should say the Federal Reserve note to be very specific, because there is going to be a treasury dollar at some point created. There technically is already coinage. This is legal tender $100 coin. Now it's worth, I don't know, $5,300. 5,300 Federal Reserve notes. And again, this, right? Well, this is a $5 coin. Granted, it's Canadian, but whatever. It's a $5 coin, but it's worth 114 Federal Reserve notes. It's buying power is the funny thing. You know, I've said it before, buying power. This is what you're protecting. It's so hard to explain to people, but what you could buy with this was a fully handmade tailored suit back in 1913. One gold piece, hand it, right? And that cost, I don't know, $20, $30 of Federal Reserve notes at the time. That was one gold piece, one gold coin, one ounce. Today, 1 ounce will buy me a handmade tailored suit. Costs roughly 5,300 Federal Reserve notes. One Federal Reserve note back in 1913, I could buy 30 Hershey chocolate bars, the big full-size bars, 30 of them for $1. 30 chocolate bars. Today, $1, one Federal Reserve note, same thing back then, one Federal Reserve note will buy you a little discount pack of gummy bears. You might have, 12 of them in there? $1. Could have gotten 30 candy bars. This is what is happening. If you're sitting in the stock market right now, the numbers are the highest they've ever been. They are, but the buying power of the dollar went down 25% during Biden. Having assets is something. If you don't have stock market money and this commercial bugs the shit out of you, think about it. What other assets could you get? Get assets. Get things that are physical and valuable while you can afford them. What's something you could make money off of when the economy gets a little weird? Barter system. What are you good at? Get stuff to do that. Be really good at it. That is the trick. And if you're someone like me that doesn't necessarily have a lot of skills other than the blabber at the mouth, I mean, I learn stuff quick. You teach me things and I can do it really well, but don't just know it. Get in precious metals. If you got a 401k or an IRA, get the frick out of their system as quick as you can, frankly. My good friends at Goldco, they'll definitely do that for you. They're the best in the business. They have multiple suppliers. They are the best customer service I've ever dealt with, hands down. The people I work with there are just adorable. I adore them. Kind of have a borderline crush on one of them, to be honest with you. I've never hit on her yet, and I hope I never do, frankly. But yes, they're amazing people. You'll probably end up with a crush on one of them too. It happens. You never know. Goldco's just like that. They just shine, sparkly. It's beautiful. DRSlikesGold.com. DRSlikesGold.com. 401k, IRA, it's pre-tax money. You can move it over tax-free, penalty-free. That's what they're going to do for you. As much of it as you possibly can. And then they're going to turn as much of that money into precious metals as possible. Those are physical metals put into a vault, a safe. DRSlikesGold.com. Literally turning physical 401k, IRS winnings into protection of your buying power. Physical protection. They can literally send you the physical metals. Literally can send you the physical metals. Now, payout, that's considered payout. So understand that. Get them transferred over first, and then worry about that. DRSlikesGold.com. DRSlikesGold.com. They're going to give you up to 10% free silver. That's huge. That's multiplying right now. That's actually gaining wealth. No matter what happens, that's a gain in wealth. Expected to hit $400 to $500 by the end of the year. Already flown through. It's 114. We flew through 110. Remember, it was 39 in January of last year. Things are breaking. They're breaking fast. It's not something you want to wait on. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. Let my friends help you through this. And waiting's not a good thing anymore. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. Get out of that system while you can. All right, whole lot of RICO stuff. Whole lot of video to play, and I'm going to probably try to play a few of them slightly faster, this being one of them, because they're long and they're worth it and they're good. So check this out. Here is Donald Trump breaking, well, he was sharing this news, but this is some breaking news going on around Obama. I believe in this part of it, the whole RICO thing. We're finding out a whole avalanche of crap. This entire section right here, you guys, is gold. You're going to love this. Check this out.
News alert, the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, releasing a bombshell report today that shows a conspiracy by a sitting president, Barack Obama, and his intel agencies to sabotage the president-elect, Donald Trump, brainwash the electorate, and undermine the legitimacy of an election.
There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They knew it would promote this contrived narrative that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help President Trump win, selling it to the American people as though it were true. It wasn't.
Gabbard got her hands on a House intel report that's been locked away in a CIA vault for almost a decade. Investigators spent over 2,000 hours looking into how the Russia hoax was born, interviewing 20 CIA and FBI officials. And it turns out that the Obama administration doctored the intelligence to make it look like Putin and Trump stole the election. A month after Trump beat Hillary, Barack Obama wasn't satisfied with his intelligence reporting and ordered his CIA director to create a new assessment of how Russia interfered with the election. This was a highly unusual move. John Brennan handpicked 5 CIA analysts to write the assessment, and they were siloed. None of them knew what the other was doing. And only one analyst was in charge of drafting this report. There was nothing routine about this, and it was a rush job to publish before Trump was sworn in. Nothing was coordinated with the other intelligence agencies either. Basically, this was home cooking for Barack Obama. There were 4 key elements from the assessment that were repeated over and over again and formed the basis of the Russia hoax and the Robert Mueller witch hunt. 1, that Vladimir Putin wanted Donald Trump to win. 2, Putin took action to help Trump win. 3, the Russians had blackmail on Trump. That was the Steele dossier. And 4, that the Russians tried colluding with the Trump campaign. None of any of this was ever true. There was no reliable intelligence to support any of these allegations. Senior CIA officials repeatedly refused to traffic in these allegations, but they were repeatedly overruled by CIA Director Brennan and FBI Director Comey, who insisted that they be pushed, even without verifiable evidence. The Obama administration cherry-picked the intelligence, lied about their sources, misquoted sources, didn't corroborate their claims, suppressed intelligence that ran counter to their narratives, and even used anonymous internet postings. Rank-and-file CIA admitted what they were doing violated their own tradecraft standards. There was a massive pressure campaign that came right from the top. CIA analysts say they received unusual directives from political appointees, the CIA director, and Obama himself. This is how the Russia hoax was born.
Donald Trump knows that the Russians helped him win in 2016.
Putin hated Secretary Clinton so much that the flip side of that coin was he had a clear preference for the person running against the person he hated so much.
It was Russia in a very systematic way in trying to interfere in the election and to try to advance the prospects of Donald Trump being elected.
This was such a malicious disinformation campaign perpetrated on the American people that at one point, 60% of Democrats believed the Russians hacked our voting machines to help Trump win the White House. What this report actually shows is that the Russians just wanted to create chaos and undermine Americans' faith in democracy. Solid intelligence suggested that Vladimir Putin didn't care who won. He had no preference. But like most people, expected Hillary to win and had a little docket of compromising dirt on her, dirt that he never released. Now, if Putin wanted Trump to win, why didn't Putin drop the dirt?
There were high-level DNC emails that detailed evidence of Hillary's, quote, psycho-emotional problems, uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness, and that then Secretary Clinton was allegedly on a daily regimen of heavy tranquilizers. Then CIA Director Brennan and the intelligence community mischaracterized intelligence and relied on dubious substandard sources to create a contrived false narrative that Putin developed a quote-unquote clear preference for Trump.
Now, if Clinton was on tranquilizers like the Russians believed, why didn't they leak it to help Trump win?
How credible was the information about Hillary Clinton's power?
All I have seen is what the Intelligence Committee have reported through their investigation. I think that the underlying point there is that we understand from intelligence what Russia said that they had. And the important point here is that if they were trying to influence the election, as President Obama and James Clapper and John Brennan, everybody said they were doing in order to support Donald Trump's election, they would have released the most damning of that information.
Obama and his spy chiefs knew that Putin didn't prefer Trump over Hillary, but they cooked the intelligence to make it look like he did. Obama and his intel spies knew that Putin didn't collude with Trump and that he didn't even direct his people to help Trump win. But they put it out there anyway. In a sense, Barack Obama did exactly what Putin wanted, undermined Americans' faith in free and fair elections and caused chaos in our country. Barack Obama, the CIA, and the FBI were the ones doing what our enemy wanted.
Do you believe that any of this new information implicates former President Obama in criminal behavior?
We have referred and will continue to refer all of these documents to the Department of Justice and the FBI to investigate the criminal implications of this.
For even former President Obama?
Correct. The evidence that we have found and that we have released directly point to President Obama leading the manufacturing of this intelligence assessment. There are multiple pieces of evidence and intelligence that confirm that fact.
Even 2 years later, after the election, Barack Obama was still pushing a hoax he knew wasn't true. And he knew it wasn't true because he helped manufacture it.
They're undermining our alliances, cozying up to Russia. What happened to the Republican Party? They're cozying up to the former head of the KGB. Actively blocking legislation that would defend our elections from Russian attack. What happened?
Now, I don't know if it's possible to indict a former president for actions he took while in office. I'm not a lawyer, proudly. But Brennan, Comey, and others may have severe liability. Trey Gowdy says we know for a fact that Brennan committed perjury when he lied to Congress.
Director Brennan, do you know who commissioned the Steele dossier?
I don't.
Do you know if the Bureau ever relied on the Steele dossier as part of any court filings, applications?
I have no awareness.
Did the CIA rely on it?
No.
Why not?
Because we didn't. It wasn't part of the corpus of intelligence information that we had. It was not in any way used as a basis for the intelligence community assessment that was done. It was not.
Well, that's a lie. Whatever happens to these guys is not revenge. It's accountability. And it's time for people to pay the price.
Yeah, in a huge way. Time for people to pay the price. And that is what we're going to see hopefully play out. And again, this continues. We've got more. There's so much crazy stuff that's been going on. This whole spy game that's been happening, it's all being exposed. And the election fraud, tying it all together. Giant RICO case.
Brand new details about how Obama's CIA targeted Trump and started the entire Russia hoax. For years, we were told that tips from an Australian diplomat tipped off the FBI after a random conversation with Papadopoulos, a no-name 20-something. But according to new reporting by Michael Schellenberger and Matt Taibbi, the whole thing was a CIA setup. Former CIA Director John Brennan identified 26 Trump associates to be targeted by the Five Eyes Intelligence Alliance, and then those interactions were the targets and were targeted by the FBI as suspicious. And that's how the FBI launched the Russia collusion hoax. The details of this entire operation have been stored in a top-secret binder in a secret room in Washington. Trump ordered the whole thing declassified, and now the rumor is that the binder might be missing. Joining me now, one of the reporters who broke the story, Michael Schellenberger. Michael, explain how this all started with the CIA picking these 26 Trump people.
Yeah, good to be with you, Jesse. Well, obviously, this is an extremely serious story and serious allegation by multiple credible sources that Public and Racket, that's Matt Taibbi's publication, have spoken to. These are people that are close to the House intelligence investigation of how the Russia collusion hoax began. The story, as you mentioned, was that, we were just informed by foreign intelligence about this. Our sources tell us a very different story, which is that this was initiated by the U.S. government. It came from within the U.S. government's intelligence community, including the CIA, that they asked the so-called Five Eyes nations intelligence agencies, that's the other English-speaking nations, including Britain and Australia, to spy on 26 Trump associates, or at least they had a list of the 26 associates that were identified. This is new information. Some people have theorized about this and speculated about it. We feel very confident that our sources were in a position to know and are very credible in this report. It's obviously a very serious allegation because this is illegal spying and it's illegal election interference.
Okay, so you're reporting that the CIA got these allies to bump these 26 Trump associates, create interactions, and then call these interactions suspicious and let the FBI know they were suspicious. And that starts the whole thing. What about this binder that encapsulates this whole thing and no one knows where it is right now, or Trump has it? What's that?
Well, Jesse, we'll have a piece tomorrow that is specifically about the binder, but as a friend of the show and of yours on this, I'll say that there has been widespread speculation that this binder was the reason or a reason for the FBI raid of Mar-a-Lago, and we'll be discussing that tomorrow. But obviously, if this binder contains what we have been told that it contains, which may include raw intelligence, information showing that the U.S. government, the CIA and the intelligence community of the U.S. government, initiated the Russia collusion hoax, that it did not occur in the way that the official story, including the Durham investigation, had portrayed it, then that's extremely serious information. And it may be, if the FBI then went to go get it in order to continue the cover-up of this information, that obviously adds an even more dramatic wrinkle to this. Again, we'll have more to say about it tomorrow, but this is a huge, huge story. I mean, I've been thinking about it in the history of the United States of America. Have we ever had something like this where the intelligence community was weaponized against a political candidate and using our foreign allies to do it? I can't think of a more important or dramatic story.
Yeah, and then going to great lengths by using FBI raids to cover it up. That's just an absolute incredible development. Great reporting to you and to Matt, and we look forward to your report tomorrow. Thank you so much.
And here's the thing, guys. I don't believe for a second that they didn't know about this binder. They're talking about this binder, and Taibbi, maybe he knows this, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But they're talking about this binder because they want people to talk about it, and they want to see people move around. I think they already knew about the binder. I think they've already either A, got its location, or they know roughly where it's at. And by making this story come public, it's going to cause people to move. There's a lot of things that Trump has been doing in the earlier parts of, and I think he's still doing it, and that's, like Fix-A-Flat. It's that leak seal, the seal a leak. And he's been finding leaks. He's been figuring out where stuff's happening, where the bad people are. And again, he's got a very tight core group of people around him that insulate him, but he trusts. And they trust him, and they are together. And then from there, those circles expand outward. Trump is like, you need to have your own group of people that you trust. And if you don't trust them, get them the frick out. It's coming together. A lot is happening. Trump actually stuns a reporter after declaring Barack Obama will face justice. Oh, yeah. This is all coming to fruition, guys. You're going to be shocked how this one plays out. Let's check this video out.
And I thought it was sort of terrible. And I let her off the hook, and I'm very happy I did. But it's time to start, after what they did to me, and whether it's right or wrong, it's time to go after people. Obama's been caught directly. So people say, oh, a group. It's not a group. It's Obama. His orders are on the paper. The papers are signed. The papers came right out of their office. They sent everything to be highly classified. Well, the highly classified's been released. And what they did in 2016 and in 2020 is very criminal. It's criminal at the highest level. So that's really the things you should be talking about. I know nothing about the other, but I think it's appropriate that they do go.
May I ask you about that, Mr. President? Tulsi Gabbard has submitted a criminal referral to the Department of Justice. From your perspective, who should the DOJ target as part of their investigation? What specific figures in the Obama administration?
Well, based on what I read, and I read pretty much what you read, it would be President Obama. He started it. And Biden was there with him, and Comey was there, and Clapper. The whole group was there. Brennan, they were all there in a room. Right here, this was the room. This is much more beautiful than it was then, but that's okay. I have nice pictures up. They came out of the vaults. They were there for 100 years. This is much more beautiful. We have the Declaration of Independence now in the room, which wasn't here. I guess people didn't feel too good about putting it here, but I do. But you know what? If you look at those papers, they have them stone cold, and it was President Obama. It wasn't lots of people all over the place. It was them too. But the leader of the gang was President Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? And except for the fact that he gets shielded by the press for his entire life, that's the one they... Look, he's guilty. It's not a question. I like to say, let's give it time. It's there. He's guilty. This was treason. This was every word you can think of. They tried to steal the election. They tried to obfuscate the election. They did things that nobody's ever even imagined, even in other countries. You've seen some pretty rough countries. This man has seen some pretty rough countries, but you've never seen anything like it. And we have all of the documents. And from what Tulsi told me, she's got thousands of additional documents coming. So President Obama, it was his concept, his idea, but he also got it from crooked Hillary Clinton. Crooked is a $3 bill. Hillary Clinton and her group, the Democrats, spent $12 million to Christopher Steele to write up a report that was a total fake report. Took 2 years to figure that out, but it came out that it was a total fake report. It was made up fiction. And they used that. Now, the one thing they weren't able to do was, and probably the only thing I respect about the press in years is the press refused to write it before the election. They refused to put it in. The Steele report was a disaster. All lies, all fabrication, all admitted, and admitted fraud. She paid $12 million and the Democrats for that report to a wise guy named Christopher Steele. He wrote a phony report, and they wanted to get that report in before the election. And I'll tell you what, I talk about all the time, the fake news, how bad it is, but in this case, they wouldn't do it. They saw it, they read it, and they said, we don't believe it. And it was only after, substantially, like a month and a half after the election, that it got printed, and it was a big wisp. It was just like a bang of nothing, because the election had ended. If that report had gotten published by the New York Times or somebody, and I respect the Times for maybe only this, because they're crooked as you can be. They're a terrible paper, a crooked, corrupt paper. But for this one moment, they said, this is bullshit, we can't put this in. And neither could any other paper. Wall Street Journal's a lousy paper, very, very dishonest paper. As you see, I'm suing them for a lot of money, because they do things very badly. It's got a nice name, but it's really, in my opinion, it's a terrible paper, and it can be corrupt. But just so you know, they didn't take the Steele report. It was the dossier. Remember the famous dossier? I called it the fake news dossier. The news wouldn't publish it. And I'm amazed. They had 2.5 months. It was finished 2.5 months. That was supposed to be what was going to happen. And it got published a couple of months after the election, and frankly, nobody cared too much about it. But that was a big thing. No, we caught Hillary Clinton. We caught Barack Hussein Obama. They're the ones, and then you have many, many people under them. Susan Rice, they're all there. The names are all there. And I guess they figured they're going to put this in classified information, and nobody will ever see it again, but it doesn't work that way. And it's the most unbelievable thing I think I've ever read. So you ought to take a look at that and stop talking about nonsense, because this is big stuff. Never has a thing like this happened in the history of our country. And by the way, it morphed into the 2020 race. And the 2020 race was rigged, and it was a rigged election. And because it was rigged, we have millions of people in our country. We had inflation. We solved the inflation problem. But millions and millions of people came into our country because of that. And people that shouldn't have been, people from gangs and from jails and from mental institutions, people that we don't want in our country, people that we're getting out, dangerous people. 11,888 murderers. Many of them, 50%, more than 50%, murdered more than one person. I hate to say this with such a distinguished guest, but they asked me a question. I got to answer the question. No, Barack Hussein Obama is the ringleader. Hillary Clinton was right there with him, and so was Sleepy Joe Biden, and so were the rest of them. Comey, Clapper, the whole group. And they tried to rig an election, and they got caught. And then they did rig the election in 2020. And then because I knew I won that election by a lot, I did it a third time, and I won in a landslide. Every swing state won the popular vote. But I won that all the same way in 2020. And look at the damage that was caused.
And that's true. And this leads, of course, into this crazy stuff that's happening with the election. I am shocked. I'm stoked. And just to remind, this is Daily Dots. This is a new piece that's come out. But court documents show Dominion executive admitted international access to voting system code, contradicting company's public claim. See, there's the public claim, and then there's reality. And there's a lot of things that get shielded in court, stuff that needs to be shielded because it could cause damage to the company, like the fact that international access existed to change votes. I mean, it could do a lot of things, and they wouldn't highlight that part, but ultimately you could pin them into a question of, can an administrator change vote? Well, technically they could, but they would never do that because everybody's so moral. Yeah, sure they are. Donald Trump's posted a bunch of stuff, and this is leading to the Graceland, I think. The Skiff posted this. Maria Zack testified about the stolen 2020 election operation connected to Obama when he diverted $400 million from the infamous pallets of cash sent to Iran, funneling through the Dubai embassy to operatives in Italy and Merrill Lynch in Geneva, Switzerland. In return, Italian officials at Leonardo SPA used military satellites to help hack U.S. voting machines, flipping votes from Trump to Biden using CIA-developed tools like Hammer and Scorecard, along with numerous other methods of fraud and manipulation. China reportedly coordinated the whole operation, providing the tech backbone and bribes to corrupt Americans. The CIA oversaw it, the FBI covered it up, all to install Biden as a puppet. This is the global election fraud cartel and the real threat against American democracy and the rest of the world. And understand, Venezuela was directly in the middle of that. That's where Smartmatic was licensed and created. Shared by Trump as well, but this was Real Robert that posted this. This is the November 3rd, 2020 election. Here is the Georgia Secretary of State, Raffensperger, in early morning hours of November 4th, 2020, confirming Trump won the state of Georgia just hours before the United States government was overthrown. Quote, "We have about 2% left to go. As you can see where we are right now, it will not change the outcome." End quote. In fact, he doubles down after being reprimanded. "Oh, that was interesting. We were just getting to the good part. Raffensperger, we don't guess. What we do is report." In other words, if 100% of the remaining 2% of the votes went to the vegetable in the basement, Donald J. Trump still won the state of Georgia. But that's not how it happened. I mean, at least in 2020. Now, you guys remember these people. First off, here's Biden with one of them. I forget which one's which. All right, this is our good two friends, Ruby and what's her face? I looked it up here. Yeah, Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss. All right, you guys remember them? They are these people. Which this Skiff posted this. I actually listened to a bit of it. It's interesting. It's actually from the trial, and it's like it shows the camera. It shows them sending everyone home. It shows then Ruby Freeman and what's her face? Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss and three others, pulling the ballots out from underneath the table. I've been talking about this. This is just one of the ones that I've never been able to let go of. I'm like, they kicked everyone out and then pulled shit out from underneath the table. Now, they've got the camera footage that shows, and this is one of the things they, I think, eventually point out in this 31-minute long thing. But they actually point out that one of these two, the daughter, the youngin', the bigger girl, I don't know how you'd describe her. I don't know which one she is. She's the one that set the tables up. Now, they've got the camera footage of who put those hidden ballots there. I know exactly who did that. You remember Rudy Giuliani got busted, shafted. These two women got millions of dollars and stuff from him so they can auction it. And Rudy's, I've been kind of dragging his feet on some of it, was able to keep some of it. But yeah, they were, because he can't get it back once. I mean, there's just certain things. He's like, I'm not going to give up my friggin' championship rings because I was mayor during multiple championships. President Trump's legal team exposing the 2020 election fraud at the Georgia State Farm Arena, pulling suitcases full of alleged fraudulent ballots from under the table after the election center was shut down, running the same stacks of ballots over and over and over, all throughout the night until Biden was ahead. Not all throughout the night. They stopped at about 1 a.m. Still, they stole the election from Trump. This is exactly why the FBI raided the election center today in Fulton County, Atlanta, Georgia. This is only the beginning. Prosecutions are coming. They knew the number of ballots done in this set of scans during the period of time they were doing it, with 4 people doing it at the speed of which scanning occurred, watching the video happen as they just kept feeding the same ballots in over and over. The number of ballots that they could have added was enough to change the election, just right here, with Ruby Freeman could have been them. Well, they were on camera being directly involved. So Ruby and Shay, I hope you guys save some of that money that you stole because you're going to need lawyers like nobody's business. Y'all are probably going to be in a tough place. Donald Trump truth this from Eric Doherty. Breaking, DNI Tulsi Gabbard was just spotted at Fulton County. She's down there. Check this out.
Tonight, FBI agents are going through materials found today during a search of the Fulton County, Georgia election office. That search is said to be related to the 2020 election. Correspondent David Spunt has details tonight. Good evening, David.
Brett, good evening. FBI agents are still on site at the records warehouse for the Fulton County, Georgia Board of Elections. The matter is sealed before court, meaning details are limited, but we can report this is related to the 2020 presidential election. Sources tell Fox News that agents retrieved documents, phones, and computers after a judge signed a warrant. President Trump has long made Georgia, and specifically Fulton County, a target of his complaints relating to the 2020 election. Shortly after that election, Trump spoke to Georgia's Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, and said he needed 11,780 votes to win the state. At the time, Raffensperger said he felt pressure from Trump and denied any widespread election fraud. He continues to deny it to this day. Now, Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis brought state criminal charges against then former President Trump and others in 2023 for conspiracy to overturn the election. But her prosecution, Brett, was eventually derailed completely after it was revealed she had an intimate relationship with the top prosecutor on her team, and it could have tainted the case. Late last year, a judge dismissed the case in its entirety. Now, Brett, last month, the Justice Department sued Fulton County, Georgia, seeking access to 2020 voting records after state officials allegedly failed to respond to a subpoena. Fox News has learned the head of the FBI's Atlanta field office was recently forced out in recent days, but it's unclear, Brett, if this is all related.
Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is. There's a lot of things that we don't seem to know that's going on right now, and it is beautiful how it is playing out. President Trump just posted that the FBI left with 700 2020 election ballot boxes. 700 boxes. Many are saying there's ballots and all sorts of crazy stuff in these boxes. Very curious. Now, again, we will get to it, but someone brings up a great point. They probably deleted a whole bunch of stuff, right? Yeah, but that's also telling. Sometimes the fact that there's holes in certain places leads you to understand, oh, this is Swiss cheese, not just cheese. It gives you insight into certain things. Now, again, not trying to, I could speculate on some of them, but again, they're not going to tell us what their secret sauce is. Man, the secret sauce is how they catch people like, the criminals, right? That's how they catch them. Here's Donald Trump. Here's something in regards to this FBI's the investigation.
Random truck boxes, but Jason, explain to us what is currently happening 10 feet away from us.
Yeah, David, this is a beautiful day. We've been trying to get these ballots, everything from 2020, pretty much since 2020. We've been told time and again, everything was fine, don't worry about it, why are you investigating 2020? This happened so many years ago. You know what? If there was nothing to hide, they would have showed us years ago. Now we're going to find out. These trucks are on their way to Virginia. They're going to be out of state very soon, and it is time to get to the bottom of 2020.
So basically, it's about 700 ballot boxes from the 2020 election because, Again, this is the Fulton County election office. Today, FBI executed a search warrant where they seized essentially those 700 boxes.
Everything.
And now they've officially left. This is the train, as we'll say, that's on the way, hopefully, out of Georgia.
In safe keepings.
Exactly. We don't want a judge to suddenly, and real quickly, we'll get to the judge in a second. These are actual people that that you've been fighting together with since 2020.
Yes.
Trying to make this a possibility. You've been here till the minute that they left, and it seems like they're probably going to follow them to make sure that everything will be fine and secure.
We've got to make sure the ballots get there and there are no hiccups.
Yeah.
But this is a beautiful day.
Absolutely.
We need to get to the bottom of this. Whoever won, we just want the answers.
And for any of you people out there that need mainstream media to talk about this, you're going to be disappointed. So please temper yourself, be prepared. For those of us that get what's actually happening, this is going to bring a few more of the people that are already in middle ground, already in the gray area in life, if you will, And they're going to come on over. This is going to create more independence from the Democrat Party. This is going to demonstrate how bad this rabbit hole actually is a rabbit hole. Yeah, it's a problem. Foundationally speaking, too, it's affecting the house that we're living in. Now, this was pushed out. Could have been pushed out, too. Who knows? For those wondering, this page shows the specific evidence the FBI has been ordered to seize in Georgia. Yes, it is all the 2020 ballots and voter rolls and other supporting materials related to scanning and counting tapes. They got ballots, voter rolls, computers, ballot counting tapes, everything. Now, again, what was destroyed? Who knows? But what wasn't destroyed? Well, the stuff that they didn't have a chance to destroy because they had no idea this raid was coming. Raid? Any of you guys ever seen the commercial? Anyway, like I said, the commercials affected me my whole life. It's odd, too, by the way. That's why I do 14-hour-long commercials. Yes, we all wonder if some of that has been destroyed, but even that will be very revealing. Like I said, Swiss cheese. Oh, that's the kind of cheese we're having. There is a lot that can be done forensically to reconstruct important context and data from whatever is collected. Especially the way data is recorded, the way data is saved on hard drives, the way deleting actually works. It's just a table of contents. It doesn't actually scrub it. It just says, oh, you're not there anymore. But it's still there. And if you don't overwrite it fully or at all, sometimes those sectors aren't never touched again. So there's original data. And you're able to forensically piece together a lot of that stuff. They've put together some pretty amazing bits of software. And so here we are today. Top Democrats, though, they want you to ban ICE from polling stations. Why would that be? Illegals don't vote anyways, right? How could they possibly be in polling stations? You should be like, yeah, ICE, spend time at polling stations all day long. There's no illegals there. If you've got that level of confidence, Democrat people. But if you see where his fingers are at, he was, I don't know, in the middle of describing the size of his wang. So that's, you know, after cocktails. More craziness coming because the Minneapolis thing is failing for the Dems as well. Like they're going to try to shut down the government for this type of stuff. Polling-wise, 86%. I mean, 56% even just from the standpoint of a CBS audience, ABC audience of getting rid of all immigrants. That's huge. Yet, they're still falling on the sword, man. They got no other direction to go. Again, when I raid, it's like that's like actually the perfect. That's like the perfect analogy, frankly. Anyways, this is I forget this dude's name. He's super famous too, and I'm drawing a blank on his name. I feel really bad, but maybe it'll pop, but maybe not. He is out of his fucking skull. Finally got it out. Been fighting the cuss word this whole time. There's been like 12 people that have cussed in my show already, but fuck that. Here we go. Bill something? What's his name? Anyway, whatever. Who cares?
Here's the most important part of this whole thing. Unreported. Okay? There is a man in Shanghai, China, an American citizen. His name is Neville Roy Singham. He works with the Beijing government. He is funneling millions of dollars into the United States of America through 501s like Party for Socialism and Liberation, Democratic Socialists of America, Minnesota Immigration Rights Action Committee. There he is, okay? Connecticut-born, 71 years old, billionaire tech guy. He is funneling money here to these radical organizations who are then agitating professional people, communists mostly, because Singham's a communist, all right, to go in and foster rebellion. You heard that story reported? That is absolutely true. The man has been investigated by the FBI in the past, this Singham character, okay? This isn't some organic thing. This is a foreign power, Beijing, using this American citizen who lives openly in Shanghai in luxury, knowing that this man is funneling tens of millions, probably more, into this country to try to destroy the government. What the deuce is that? Where are you, New York Times? All right? That's the second part of the story. There's a local federal story, and there's the international story. And I've had it. You don't like what I'm saying? Blank you, because I'm telling you the truth.
Blank. Wow, dadgum. That's strong language. Yeah, needless to say, O'Reilly, I guess. Bill O'Reilly, right? So anyway. So many things are coming out. And it's on mainstream media. Again, News Nation, Fox, bad. Fox, definitely. I mean, News Nation's still just as bad. But whatever. Donald Trump, we're looking at the funders. Again, that's so much video.
This is a presidential memorandum on countering domestic terrorism and organized political violence. In recent weeks, months, and years, we've seen a tremendous upsurge in some highly visible, but also other acts of domestic terrorism and organized political violence being perpetrated by radical, politically motivated groups all over the country. What this presidential memorandum will do is set off an administration-wide response to that, ranging from the Joint Terrorism Task Forces to other components of the Department of Justice, to the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Treasury. We're looking at interdicting these groups, preventing them from performing acts of violence, and also looking at sources of organization and funding and support that prop them up and allow them to do the acts that they have been doing.
We're looking at the funders of a lot of these groups, and when you see the signs, and they're all beautiful signs made professionally. These aren't your protesters that make the sign in their basement late in the evening because they really believe it. These are anarchists and agitators, professional anarchists and agitators, and they get hired by wealthy people, some of whom I know, I guess, probably know them. And you wouldn't know it. You're at dinner with them, everything's nice, and then you find out that they funded millions of dollars to these lunatics. Steve, could you say a couple of words?
Yes, Mr. President. This is a very historic and significant day. This is the first time in American history that there is an all-of-government effort to dismantle left-wing terrorism, to dismantle Antifa, to dismantle the organizations that have been carrying out these acts of political violence and terrorism. What we have seen, if you look at whether it be going back to the riots that started with Black Lives Matter and all the way through to the Antifa riots, the attacks on ICE officers, the doxing campaigns, and now the political assassinations, these are not lone, isolated events. This is part of an organized campaign of radical left terrorism. It is structured, it is sophisticated, it is well-funded, it is well-planned. There is really no parallel like this to anything else in the country right now. There is an entire system of feeder organizations that provide money, resources, weapons, and when they're attacking ICE officers, they're attacking federal buildings, or they're isolating public officials for harassment, doxing, intimidation, and ultimately attempted assassination. It is all carefully planned, executed, and thought through. It is terrorism on our soil. Because of this executive order, Cash and Pam are going to have the tools they need, working with Scott, to take these organizations apart piece by piece. And the central hub of that effort is going to be the Joint Terrorism Task Force, or JTTF, which sits inside the Federal Bureau of Investigation. But for those at home who are worried about terrorism in this country, they need to understand, because of President Trump's strength, because of his vision, because of his leadership, we are now going to use the entire force of the federal government to uproot these organizations root and branch. And again, that's only possible because of President Trump and his leadership.
And it's kind of important to point out, it's possible some additional people will die that maybe shouldn't. I think good. She hit the cop. She did it with the cop with the car. That sent out a loud and clear message, just the way it worked out, right? Whether it's planned, whether it's part of the movie, whatever, right? That specifically sent out a message to every one of these anarchists. Use your vehicle as a weapon, you will die. Is it worth it? I'll guarantee you, 90% of these mofos, it ain't worth it. They're paid. You're not going to give your life for somebody else's cause just because somebody's putting money in your pocket. Usually life is stronger. Unless you're somebody that just, ready to die. This is not going to play out the way the deep state needed or wanted. We are shutting that down badly. These guys can't keep it up. They can't. They're going to keep trying, but it ain't going to work. Pam Bondi announced 16 arrests, more to come.
Is everyone press?
We're overnight. We're all members of the press. We're all press here. Okay. This officer appears to be bleeding from the mouth. Oh my God. Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Says he's all right. He's all right.
Where's the local PD? That's my question for the press.
Okay. This officer.
Where is the local PD?
What's your message to the local PD, sir?
No.
Okay.
Well, the mayor.
Very chaotic.
Sir, while you're getting messages, what would your message to the protesters that want you out be?
Press conference.
As long as you're getting comments, do you have any comments to the people that want you out?
Back up! Please, give me some room!
She arrested 17 people. No, more than that. People, how many? 16 arrests. Well, that's weird. Why didn't they arrest one more? You almost got to wonder, right? 16 arrests. It's a specific number. Intentionally not 17, by the way. They got names in here. If you guys need them.
We are speaking about...
Get the fuck out of here. Get down. There you go. 18 U.S. Code, Section 111, which is cool. 18 code, which I like that number. 111, definitely like that number. Christina Rank. I don't want to say these names, but yeah, here they are. If you want to pause it, if you want to look and see if you know any of those people. Convicted criminals, including carjacker who beat a pregnant woman. Because that's what you do when you're a criminal. He was found among the arrested anti-ICE activists. This is one of the people that they're trying to protect. People that were storming the hotel that have already been arrested and put back out on the streets are now insurrectioning. Can I make that? I'm going to do it. And that's what I did. Insurrectioning. That's what he's doing. He is an ist as well as ing. Try that on for size. See if that hurts your brain. Video of peaceful Alex Preddy helping old ladies cross the street because he was just a lovely guy. He was an ER nurse. He was like that guy who was at George Clooney. Yeah, an ER. He's the same kind of guy. They actually, I don't know if you guys have seen the story where they messed with his picture. Right? He's a skinny, zero color because he's a fucking horrible person. He's barely alive, so he's got no color, no soul. And then he's an NPC, probably. Really. In all honesty, this dude's probably an NPC based off his coloring. It's funny that that's how it is. But he's very gaunt. Is that the right word? Anyway, very unhealthy. He looks bad. I don't know why these crazy words come into my head sometimes. It's like, why are we using this word? I've never used it in a friggin' sentence before. Seen it. Anyways.
Fuck you! Fuck out of here! Fuck you! What the fuck is wrong with you? Every decision you made in your life is fucking wrong. Look at you, pepper spray bitch. How can you stop me, motherfucker? How can you do this? Fuck you guys. Fucking trash. Fucking trash.
We arrived around 10:15 a.m. We saw observers shouting at the agents as they walked back to their vehicles. When they started driving away, the man kicked their taillight. An agent then got out of the vehicle, grabbed him, and pushed him to the ground.
Okay, they never arrest him, and I don't want to play the rest of it because it's stupid. You do end up seeing his gun, by the way, so he was packing. He definitely didn't have a rib broken. He made that story up. That's bullshit. Because like I've said before, and someone emailed me, I don't think in a bad way, or texted or something on the X, which is cool, by the way. Comment on X, guys. What am I at? At DRS with, at OTF with DRS? What the hell is my, I don't even know. It'll get there in a second, and I'll tell you guys, and I'll stop being stupid. But yeah, I don't know. At DRS with, I don't know what the hell my name is. I could look, but it's more fun to just eventually have it pop up on the screen. He had a gun. This dude Did not break a rib. Like I said, someone commented there is when you have cracked ribs. He was acting like, oh, I was fine. I kept doing stuff. I was like, no, it hurts like hell. You know, it hurts like hell. So whatever you did, you were crazy. Twitter at OTF with DRS, literally WITH at OTF with DRS, at OTF with DRS, at OTF with DRS. That said, yeah, I actually pay attention to those comments for now. And if you're a total dickhole, I'll probably get rid of you and ban you or whatever the hell I got to do. But as it stands, I try to pay attention to those comments. That's it. That's the only place right now I'm actually looking at comments. Only because it's kind of interesting. Twitter's like this crazy place and everybody's there. Rand Paul's now claiming that Alex Preddy never assaulted any officers. Well, he did spit at him and he kicked the door. And so Rand Paul doesn't seem to be necessarily seeing all the same videos, or his definition of things is certainly different than ours. Again, I want very much to like Rand Paul. I feel like he's a dude in the center that's trying to be in the center, and I'm cool with that. I really am. But I feel like I don't know. I feel like there's something that's hooked on him. I don't know. I just got this, there's a bit of a, I don't think that's fresh fish. I have something about it. Don't know. Donald Trump truth a bunch of stuff today. Here's Dr. Oz and Laura Ingraham talking about Tim Walz and all of his magnificence. Tim Walz was in an interview where he says, I'm never going to run for anything again. Never in public office again. Yeah, good, you fucker. You should never, ever, 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 ever be allowed. Like, I'm talking for the next 72 lives that you lead. You shouldn't be allowed to be in public office. I don't mean just this life. That'd be too simple. Yeah, no, you're never going to because you're an idiot. But you should never be allowed to. You're fucking horrible. It feels so good when the F words come. Is it Grandma pissed at me? I'm sorry, Grandma. Shit.
We have just sent a letter to Governor Walz alerting him to something he probably fears and should have taken action in a timely manner to avoid. We are auditing all of the Medicaid bills, in particular for the 14 programs that he and his own administration have admitted were problems, and we're going to claw that money back from the Medicaid monies that they'll be getting. Now, this is a major problem for the state because they've got to own the fact that they have been bilking the federal taxpayer for their sloppy behavior for years. What we have learned so far in Minnesota is just the tip of the iceberg, perhaps the largest Medicaid scam ever, taking place throughout the state in many different fashions. But just alone with the things that we're concerned about, we're talking about $500 million or more of money that could be in places that we're not even sure how it was billed, where it went. People are having trouble tracking it. We challenged the Walz administration to give us a corrective action plan by the end of the year. They sent us something after hours on New Year's Eve. It was completely insufficient. This is an appropriate response from the federal government. President Trump's been very clear on this. He doesn't want 6 million people or less living in Minnesota to have all the fraud that happened in that state paid for by all the other taxpayers in the country. And for the 6 million people in Minnesota, Governor Walz let you down. His administration, despite all the blustering now, did not do their job. They did not take these very credible allegations over the last several years seriously. Just in the time that I've been administrator, they've been telling us that they have this handled. They did not. And so the corrective action plans that they have submitted, since they are inadequate, we're going to demand that they fix those problems, and we're going to claw back money to protect the federal taxpayer.
He said you're inadequate, Tim Walz. Walz. I want to call it Waltz, but it's not correct. Walz. Tosca Austin said, while Walz whips up rage against ICE and mobilizes the National Guard amid violent Minneapolis protests, by the way, just serving coffee and donuts to rioters. The next taxpayer scam as the land of 10,000 lakes is already bubbling away. Imagine this. Tim Walz's brand new paid family leave program. We've talked about this. We've been mean about this. But it defines family member so broadly it includes anyone with a close association equivalent to family relationship. Virtually no limits. What comes up, or who comes up with these schemes, right? It's like trouble by design. They do it on purpose to give their specific friends access to. I bet you they bust the shit out of any Republican-y type people, right? You're some Second Amendment MAGA motherfucker, right? Like you've got, If there's a gun registry of you and then you're trying to get in on one of these schemes, y'all, I guarantee you're getting shafted. You're going to jail. But if you're like, oh, I can't be, oh my God, I'm so afraid of my life. I might die from my country. It's so dangerous, even though I travel there 15 times a year. Because I got family. I miss them. You know, it's so dangerous, though. I don't ever go there except 15 times. Only. How many times you go to the grocery store? See? Oh, I only go 15 times to the country. So, you know, you're stupid. Yeah, you get the point. Tom Homan's Ass Kicker. I want to play all this stuff, and I don't care how long my show is today. I really don't. I've got a ways to go. He's seeking cooperation in Minnesota. He's vowing drawdown on streets in exchange for jail-based ICE ops. He's like, no, I'm not friggin' leaving. I don't know if this is that. I've seen so much stuff today. Ugh.
And he has clarified for me that county jails may notify ICE of the release dates of criminal public safety risks so ICE can take custody of them upon the release from the jail. And let me tell you why that's important. I know people are a lot concerned about the manpower has been set in law enforcement manpower. Look, I've said this many times before. I've said it for the last several years. Give us access to the illegal alien public safety threat and the safety and security of a jail. It's common sense. It's safer for the community, it's safer for the agent, and it's safer for the alien. Because anything can happen on a street arrest. It just makes common sense. And for the people that argue, well, we're a welcoming community because we want victims and witnesses of crime that are here illegally to feel safe to come to police without fear they're working with ICE, we're not going to talk to the victim and witness of crime. There's no problem there. They should feel safe to come to police and ask for help. All we want is to talk to the person that local and state law enforcement authorities locked in a jail cell.
Yeah, they're in jail already. Or the criminals. Hello. I could play the rest of these. Tom Homan, increased cooperation with ICE in Minneapolis will mean less agents in the city. This is what they keep trying to push. He says all illegal aliens in Minnesota remain eligible for deportation, not just those with a criminal record. We're only looking for those with a criminal record. If you happen to be illegal and living with one of them, you might have a harder time. Okay, I would just suggest calling them out and be like, hey, look, the guy goes to work on these days. Please don't come to the house. They'd probably appreciate that. Again, 58% of the population in this country, including liberal people, are okay with sending anybody here illegally home. Back to your country. That is not necessarily what's needed. Again, people get pissy. They're very black and white. It's cool, whatever. You can disagree with me. It's fine. I'm fine. It's fine. And if it gets to that point, it's great. But I think there's a lot of communities that don't realize how many jobs that are done by people that, you know, one way or the other, are maybe not legally here. And those jobs wouldn't necessarily easily get filled. And if you don't have a job and you need a job and you're like, I have 0 people that'll do this, there's nothing you can do. Nothing. You just can't pick crops, or you can't do... There's a lot of things that happen. There's a lot of jobs. How many of you work at dry cleaners? Any of you? Seriously, one of you guys send me an email. Go to my website and you can contact me from there. My name.com. You can find it if you need to. You literally can contact me there. Unless you're already on the blocked list. There's a lot of you guys that get blocked. Some of you guys just waste time like nobody's business. Tom Homan called out outraged Democrats in front of millions. Yeah, let's play this one. It sounds fun.
I also want to remember the politicians are continually attacking us. Where were they the last 4 years when the number of women and children sex trafficking went all-time high? Where were they when 250,000 Americans died from fentanyl coming across the border? Where were they when women and children are dying making that journey? Where were they? Over 4,000 aliens making that journey died, historic record. Where were they? Not a word. Now we're just trying to respond to what happened the last 4 years and keeping this country safe. And we're arresting a lot of public safety threats, take them off the streets, which make this country safer. President Trump promised to make this country safe again, and that's what we're doing.
Now, I'll happily accept the argument that how do we know that? Well, we don't know anything ever. I mean, ever when it comes to the government. So, I mean, you're right. You're right. That's a great place to be like speculative, right? Like, I'm cool with that. Still, I'm leaning on it seems like this is what's happening because the people that are making the most noise right now are the people that seem to be the problem. So, it feels like it's working, in my opinion. But yeah, I get the argument. Yeah, the organization funding, blah blah blah. We're all the stuff's happening, man. We're catching these people. Now, Ron bummed me out a lot when he ran against Trump. That was probably planned. I knew that then. I said that then. I've been fair on this, but like at the same time, you don't just get a pass. You don't get to just come out against Trump and be like, no, I was told to. The earpiece told me. Like, I don't know. You could be like, Dan, that earpiece is bullshit. It doesn't say anything to you. They don't believe you? Never. Ron DeSantis confirms new law in Florida. Check it out. This is freaking awesome. This is how it should be. This guy, something's up with Ronnie. He might make even a sneaky president. I don't know if he's short, but that you don't need to be tall, right? Like, you don't need to be, right?
Local officials and our state agencies are on the same team, with DHS in this. I don't want a Minneapolis mayor situation in Florida. Well, guess what? Because of that legislation that we insisted on, if you did have a situation where they were trying to, if they were even non-cooperative, refusing to cooperate, but if they try to sabotage especially, we have the ability to remove them from office, suspend them from their positions. And so there's real teeth into what we're doing. So we saw that would be. Now think about what's unfolded since then. Florida, you have this. We have almost 20,000 apprehensions of illegal aliens between our local and state law enforcement, and that's in addition to what DHS is doing on their own. And so they probably have done twice that many just in the last pretty much 9 months is when this stuff really started to ramp up. But everyone knows their duties. Everyone knows they've got to cooperate. I understand some will be show a little more zeal in doing that than others, but you cannot not cooperate, and you definitely can't sabotage because there'll be consequences. Well, if every state did that, you would not have some of the problems that we're seeing, around the country. That's just a fact. You have governor, mayor in some of these states, Minnesota and others, where, one, they refuse to cooperate. Why would you not? I mean, think about it. I don't care what your view is on immigration, but if you have someone who's here illegally and they commit crimes in your state and violate your state law, and then they're getting out of prison, why would you not have DHS come pick them up and send them home? Why would you release them into your communities?
Oh no. Oh, sweet. I wish Gavin Newsom was like someone I would be proud of. It's what I keep thinking to myself. Like watching him, like I said, every once in a while I'll have my for whatever reason, I don't know, whatever. At least it's just a monitor. It scares the hell out of me. It happens often enough. Also, Jesus. Yes, thank you, Ron DeSantis. Even though you're like, I can't help but think every time I see you, he's like Tom Cruise tall. Like Tom Cruise is like, he's not taller than you, please, right, Ron? Like, you're taller than Tom Cruise. Tell him, I'd like to see that. If anybody's got facts on that, I want to see it. If he's Tom Cruise tall or taller, or shorter. So, Ilhan Omar. She's not surviving this very well. This little attack. So the man that attacked her, he attacked her with, get ready for this, guys. He sprayed this on her too, right on her titty. I don't know if you guys remember that. Right on her titty. And I don't mean that in any sort of good way. It's just, I love boobies. Can't help it. Yeah, even if they're on Ilhan. I'd be like, oh, okay. AOC, nice. All right, Ilhan, all right, let's see. Oh, it would be that way. Sprayed apple cider vinegar on her booty. I feel like titty's a better word. So there is a funny little moment. Oh, I guess let's read this. AP put this out? Yeah. Man arrested that attacked her. Anthony Kazmierczak. He's 55. He's arrested for squirting an unknown vinegar-like substance on her up. You shot salad dressing on me, you bastard. That's never going to come out. I'll buy a new shirt. Well, Rep. Ilhan Omar was so incensed she attacked at him. Ah, it's one of the most weird videos. But what's weird, when people notice this, there seems to be a nod. Like she went, she looked right at him and went, huh, and just went down. It's not a full nod. It's not like a, It's not like that. It's not like a Canadian South Park nod. It's like, no. It's just like a, like, sorry, just down. Just down. No up. I keep doing the up. It's just a, You watch, you tell me, I don't know. I'm trying to just prepare you for it. It's all I can say.
Resign or face impeachment?
I kind of feel like she sort of nods. Let's watch that one more time. Let's go big. Let's try big. Go big or go home.
Resign or face impeachment?
It was subtle as F, wasn't it? That's legit. She looked, nod, boom. Right? Done. Done skis. Ah! Salad dressing all over your titty. Down with your titty. I've had a really good day. Sorry, guys. Big evil MAGA man. This is the guy that sprayed her titty. For those of you that are sensitized. I can't watch this in front of my grandkids when you say titty over and over. Yeah, but don't ever watch with your grandkids. God bless, those poor children shouldn't ever have to meet me. That'd be horrible. This guy, titty squirter, is, he's got a trans child. I don't know what sex they actually are or whatever. I don't even know. I didn't dig into it. Yeah, just saying. Rep. Ilhan Omar is now in a Somali neighborhood in Minneapolis claiming President Trump is intimidating her. This is what she's saying. I'm not going to play 3 minutes of her being stupid. I'm intending to do this. Yes, there we go. But I don't know if you guys remember this. This is a story I didn't really give credit to or attention to. Maybe some of you saw it. But there was this Somali, oddly Ilhan Omar looking. I don't know if that's just all those people look the same when they got all that covering on. I don't know. But she had the Band-Aid. She's like, I got damaged by DHS. They beat me down. They smashed my face on the ground. And the very next day, they show her, and no Band-Aid, and not even the adhesive mark. For me, I got that weird sensitive skin, and you'd see it. You'd see an adhesive mark where a Band-Aid was on my face. Oh, my God. It's fucked up how it affected me. Right? That would happen. Didn't with her. No owie, though. Zero owie. So this chick is full of shizzle. Here she is.
So I'm Somali. I'm proud to be Somali. To me, being Somali isn't just eating bananas with rice. It's a lot. It's like it's an interesting thing. It's very hard to describe what it means to be Somali and what it means to be American. But it's like a cultural fusion. It's kind of like the bananas and rice. People don't really see, like, it's people don't think, oh, you can eat bananas with rice, but that's what it's like to be Somali and American. It's like that combination of banana and rice, but you're gonna get what I mean.
Never, ever are we going to get what you mean or get to the point of what you mean. But she got arrested. She was actually part of one of these protests. And she doesn't seem to have any owie at all in her face. It's the same outfit. I hope you have right? I mean, I'm going to be honest. She's a nice figure and stuff, right? Not too much junk in the trunk. But, no. Yeah, no owies. Again, I would have you would see, you'd be like, you had a Band-Aid on yesterday, huh? Yes. Why'd you put it on your forehead? Because I'm stupid. Trying to make a point. All right, one more of this RICO section. Man who nearly beat Chicago train passenger to death. Hey, he walks free. No prison time. Just saying. This isn't Chicago. Did this on a train, so I don't know if you do it on a train, it's okay. Is it like I wonder, because trains, tracks, anyone out there, let me know. One of you guys hit me up on X. And I'm not trying to just get people on X, but it's actually a great place to get a hold of me. It's easier in the big picture. Hit me up, let me know. But if you're on train tracks, that's federal, right? Always? Something weird there, right? I don't know. That's a federal thing. If it's on train, those are federal tracks. They're probably laid with federal money. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, he's on the streets because they don't give a shiz about any of that stuff. Look, guys, I love this product. I'm a proud user. Unimate, I love it. I got the lemon. Tastes like iced tea. If you guys remember the old Crystal Light iced tea. Iced tea with lemon, I think is what it was. And it had no sugar and all that nonsense. Same thing. It's got caffeine and stuff, which is cool. Kind of gives you a little kick, so it's really good. But it also helps with appetite. It helps with the problem that 94% of us have, which is insulin resistance. We eat a lot of weird foods. A lot of weird foods with weird carbohydrate issues with them. And our bodies almost get to a point where they're like, I don't want to put insulin out. It just gives you the middle finger. It's literally just like, I'm not going to say it in the middle of a commercial, but F you is what it's saying. Because we bastardize it. Oh, I'm eating all this stuff that's fake. It doesn't have any calories, says the box. You might trust it, but it's fudging your body. Oh, it's horrible. Horrible. That's what's cool about this. So first off, anybody that's diabetic, pre-diabetic, any of that, this you should seriously take advantage of. You definitely. It's for the price and everything that you're doing and how easy it is. And the results, and I'll have some to share. It's amazing. For those of you that are, like me, not diabetic, and even really not really overweight, man, the Unimate, it's awesome. Energy. It's helping me actually get my diet a little more stabilized. I've actually found myself not gravitating towards certain foods. Some of the snacking, the cravings. It's just weird. I've actually found myself gravitating towards better foods for myself. There's no diet involved with this. That's what's so awesome about it. It helps your body process things differently. And the balance is the really different one. You do that with dinner, and it helps you digest differently. It has some fiber, so you feel fuller. So you drink that one right before you eat, and you won't eat as much, and you will process the carbs differently. For those of you that are diabetic or pre-diabetic or anywhere near that where your doctor's paying attention to it, oh, we got to watch this number. You seriously want to get on this product. This, you just drink it 3 times a day. You just mix it in with water. It's delicious, and it changes your life. I don't know how else we can help that. So here's LB. I don't know who this is. I took their name away, so I think this is fair. 10 pounds down. This is my people. My audience. I've barely been selling this for like 2 months now, right? Faster, 18 to 20 hours. Balanced protein, fiber, fat, and decreased sugar. I love the ginger lemon and the lemon teas. The orange balance is also very flavorful. 100% happy with this program. Charlene tells us. She was talking to one of my buddies, Kaysen. He's a good guy. Using Unicity products, especially any of you guys that decide to get into I want to sell this product too because I believe in it so much. You're changing lives, by the way. It's like, yeah, if you can scream this and then make a couple bucks in screaming this to other people, it's hard to say no to. Hi, Kaysen. Using Unicity, as they say, products have helped me lower my blood sugar to the levels the doctors are saying that I should be at. Not only has it helped with my blood sugar levels, it helps block my cravings and snacking. I can't wait for my A1C test in January. This is the first time in over 20 years that I've actually found something that works, including the medications they have me on. She actually saw her A1C numbers come down. They're still above, but barely. They're down a bunch. And she's asking, can you test me again in a month? She's like, I got this. I'm going to get off this meds. I'm going to get off this insulin. That's what's happening with people. It's OTFspecial.com. OTFspecial.com. I'm telling you, if you're diabetic, pre-diabetic, anywhere in that whole diabetes spectrum, this will help the way your body processes carbs. It'll help you get out of this without really changing much. Now, I recommend doing some stuff, getting healthy, certainly getting into some walking or weightlifting or something, right? Get into a healthy habit of movement and, getting your heart sped up a little bit. Those are good things. But, talk to a doctor if you're super overweight or something crazy. Work into it. But this will change your life. OTFspecial.com. OTFspecial.com. Yeah, we got a lot of fat people in this country, so I apologize. Dozens have been arrested after Mamdani-backed anti-ICE agitators occupy a hotel. This is one of the things we were showing. A bunch of these pasty whites. By the way, it's not all white people, right? Okay. Couple exceptions, but mostly white people. This guy's a ginger, for Christ's sake. That's as white as you get. They would say Aryan, I guess, in German, but yeah, I mean, technically, I feel like if you're a redhead, there's no black redheads, are there, anywhere? I don't think so. I don't think there's black blondes either, by the way, with blue eyes. That'd be crazy. Mamdani's trying to get Hochul to, hey, man, we need money, bad, we're broke. And it's, of course, Smith's fault. Adams. I don't know why I'm Smith, but Adams' fault. It's his fault. Oh, I've inherited this horrible thing. We need to raise taxes on everybody, the rich people. Hochul's got to try to get reelected again in a year. So this is going to be really funny how this dude essentially struggles through the collapse, and he's going to be the face. That's all this is. It's not even going to really actually, you guys might disagree with me, but it's not technically even going to be his fault. The things that he does won't matter. They've already been done. That's going to destroy New York. That's already happened. And they're continuing the same process. They're moving in the same direction. So there's not going to be any sort of fixing of that. Yeah, this is not going to work well at all. President Trump considering a federal cap on state fuel taxes. Interesting. They're talking about California being one of the worst. Big surprise.
California's gas prices high above the national average. President Trump says he's considering a state fuel tax cap in hopes of bringing those prices down. FBN's Max Gordon has more from an LA gas station, probably the last place a driver wants to be these days. Max, how's it looking out there?
Hey there, Bill. Well, at the Chevron here in West Los Angeles, a gallon of regular gasoline will cost you $4.39. We've got the second highest gas prices in the nation here in California, second only to Hawaii. And part of the reason that California's gas prices are so high is the taxes. According to stats from the Energy Information Agency, California levies the highest tax on gasoline in the nation at around 71 cents per gallon, more than double the national average for gas taxes. In addition, environmental programs cost an additional 54 cents per gallon. But now President Trump wants to change that, telling the California Post that he wants to place a cap on California's fuel taxes. Well, the details of the proposal are unclear. Trump told the California Post that he wants to get California gas prices down to around $2.50 per gallon. Still, a tax cap on gas in California would likely face legal action. The majority of California's gas tax revenue goes to fund infrastructure projects for road repairs. Meanwhile, a spokesperson for Governor Gavin Newsom responded to this plan. He said that this is just an attempt from President Trump to give fossil fuel firms a break and that this would cut billions from California's infrastructure spending. Bill, back to you.
Their wasting of our money. You mean this? Yes, that the potholes are still crap, and a lot of that comes through many other means. I don't think it filters down the way they're talking about it all. Also, they tax us only 71 cents per gallon on the gas, which is already extraordinarily expensive compared to everyone else. They don't mention the tax on the refinery, on the gas sold from the refinery. I'd love to see that side of the tax as well, because I guarantee you that's why the gas prices are so high, is California taxes it in every single step of its production. The oil, which we actually had, I think they've capped a lot of the wells here, but oil, the pumping, the refining they tax, the pumping they tax, the refining they tax, and the gas pumping they tax. They tax the out of us. So, yeah. God bless it. Fucking hate that. Hate that Telegram. Fuck you, Telegram. That's all I can say. More bad news for Gavin Newsom, though. The world's largest employer, Walmart. You guys have heard of them. They're closing 250 stores here in California, citing the $22 hour minimum wage is fucking ridiculous. Leaves them on competitive or uncompetitive, really, because their profit margins are tiny. They really are. They do it by volume. Volume's the key. If you sell 1,000 things, but you only make a half a cent off each one, fuck, man, you made 500 cents, right? It's not bad. But if you're somebody that's like selling 10 of them at a time or a month, you're like, shit, I need to charge an extra 20 cents so I can make my money. And that's what's going on. And they're basically saying, dude, you're killing us with employment. So literally Walmart's closing Walmarts. Think about that for a second. I'm sure the 250 are going to be the lowest performing stores, the shittiest stores. They're going to be in the shittiest areas, probably the highest theft. So a lot of places that have been abusing their own locations, they're like stealing from the businesses like Minneapolis, Seattle, whatever. They steal from their businesses and they expect the businesses to just take it. And the businesses are like, yeah, we're not going to be here anymore. No. Thanks. Peace. I know I'm way long today. I apologize, guys. Federal investigation finds Newsom's California illegally concealed kid's gender. They're busted for it now. You're not allowed to do that. Department of Education, specifically, since it hasn't been closed. You don't want to close it down? All right, we're going to fuck you guys over all day. Linda McMahon, I always want to say it the other way. She's like, nah, you guys overstepped your authority all over the place. You're not allowed to do this. You're getting federal money all over the place. You must follow federal rules. You've broken them many, many, many times. Not cool. Orban, he's backing Weidel's demand that Ukraine pay German reparations for Nord Stream sabotage. The whole story is like, oh, okay, they're going to give money for that. That sounds awesome. That Ukraine should somehow pay for this, or the company. What I find interesting is that the world stage is blaming Ukraine right now, like they should. Ukraine was behind the destruction of the Nord Stream sabotage. It hurt a NATO ally. Yeah, sure, it was tied to Russia, but it hurt a NATO ally. It hurt them. Yeah, it hurt Russia too. Hurt a NATO ally. Ukraine did it. They're behind it. No talks, just readiness. Iran's like, whoa, we're going to kick your ass, or U.S. If you come in here, we're way tougher than Venezuela. We got missiles. We'll see. U.S. could preemptively attack Iran, Rubio saying. He's like, yeah, we'll see. We definitely have it on the table. The idea of smoking them is on the table. So Iran's a little nervous, especially the ones that are like, they literally can just turn off all the power and land and just take me in the middle of the night. Really? Says the Ayatollah. I don't know if it sounds like that when you're, however their fucking language sounds. I don't know what it sounds like. I can't imitate it. I know like a few words, but if you sneeze, what did I say? Butsarova? I think that's what it is. Yeah, Butsarova. Not there, I think it's yes, nah, it's no, and I don't know. A few words. Oh, shit. Yeah, let's get back to this. Good story. This is why I'm so long, Dan. Because you talk bullshit. Supreme Court is going to consider President Trump's petition to review E. Jean Carroll's civil verdict. This is the craziest verdict ever. If any of you guys, this one bothers me a lot. Like, he got liable for sexual assault, even though he didn't rape her. How? He assaulted me with his eyes. I actually said that to a chick when she came over to notarize for my when I refied. She came in with her headlights blaring, and she was a beautiful lady. I was just saying, well, damn, they sent me their best. Shoot. Yeah, she assaulted me with her eyes. Let's call it that. And that was a happy moment, by the way. Not complaining at all. Like, if I had one of them teachers that have, like, I would have loved to have been molested by a teacher. That would have been rad. I mean, like a good-looking teacher. I had like crushes on a few of them, man. That would have been fucking super cool. I wouldn't have told my parents. Get out of here. Teacher would have been safe with that information. NASA, they're set to launch the first manned moon rocket in 50 years. This is very interesting. I'm very curious about this. All 100 different ways. NASA people are... Why... Why are you putting people on it? There's so much about this that's very not what they're telling us. So, yeah. I mean, you can speculate. I don't want to try to tell you what it is. We're putting people out by the moon. We're like, can we come back now? Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Okay, cool. We got it. Nice. Yeah, a little long. Apologize. I love you guys. There's a lot today. Seriously, they broke into the Fulton County. Oh my God, so much to happen. I'm so excited. I love you guys. Where we go one, we freaking do. We go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.